is rare that the word Saudi Arabia is mentioned without the mention of oil and gas next to it. Oil and gas is the paramount and most significant important sector of our economy in Saudi Arabia. And you cannot mention the word oil and gas without mentioning the word Aramco, the world's most important and influential energy company. After a lunch break, I think we would go to the main dish now with the presentation of investment opportunities in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and developing partnership. I would like to introduce to you Mr. Joab Strathhoff from Aramco Overseas Company to highlight this very important sector. Please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joab Strathhoff. I'm from Aramco Overseas Company in the Netherlands. I'm happy to be here today, and I would like to thank the Czech Saudi Business Forum for providing this opportunity to give our presentation, and I would like to thank you for your attendance. During my presentation, I will introduce our company, Saudi Aramco. I will explain more about its business strategy and more about the business opportunities within Saudi Aramco and how Saudi Aramco would like to partner with you. And I will explain the next steps in this process. Saudi Aramco is a fully integrated energy enterprise, and to give you some numbers, our reserves are 260 billion barrels. Our gas reserves are 288 standard cubic feet of gas, and every 1 out of 8 barrels of world oil production is coming from Saudi Arabia. And our global refining capacity is 4.9 billion barrels per day. If we look at the focus areas of Saudi Aramco, then first of all, Saudi Aramco wants to maintain its upstream leadership position. Second, it wants to pursue growth downstream in refining and chemicals. 3, it wants to drive innovation by maintaining an innovation pipeline. 4, it wants to develop a vibrant and competitive energy sector within the kingdom. And 5, we want to commit to a positively impact on the communities in which we operate. And now I will go more in depth in the 4th focus area. Saudi Aramco wants to spur the creation of a global, competitive Saudi energy services sector. And we want to do that by leveraging our business activities, which we can help to support the expansion of local manufacturing. First, we want to enable the growth of industrial clusters. We want to create the right conditions for foreign and direct investment. We want to prepare the local workforce for taking advantage of the employment opportunities within Saudi Arabia. We foster entrepreneurship by providing access to finance, expertise and guidance. And we want to facilitate localization. If we look at this specifically, at the localization of business, meaning the buying or the procurement of goods and services that are manufactured locally, then Saudi Aramco has set the target for 70% in 2020 and has defined targets per category. In order to get there, you need to understand where Saudi Aramco is now. Saudi Aramco knows a supplier preference. Normally, Saudi Aramco buys in-kingdom manufactured goods. When these are not available, then we will procure materials which are warehoused by local stockists. If these are not available, then we will buy imported goods from local vendors, and eventually we will import through our out-of-kingdom offices. In order to increase or to achieve the target of 70%, Saudi Aramco is calling manufacturers to come to Saudi Arabia and establish your company there. Of course, everybody is welcome, but there is a special focus on assembly companies, production companies, and original equipment manufacturers, companies that are also taking their research and development activities to the kingdom. They have analyzed the supply market in Saudi Arabia, and on this slide you see materials listed for which there is no local manufacturing capacity, or there is no sufficient local manufacturing capacity, or there is not sufficient, the number of Saudi Aramco approved suppliers is not sufficient. They have conducted the same analysis for services, and if you look at this slide, you will see within the carbonate reservoir product development and also in well intervention design that there is a requirement for service providers capable of delivering these services locally. What has Saudi Aramco to offer to investors in Saudi Arabia? Well, to start with our projects. At present, there is a large number of projects which are under construction. I will give some examples. For instance, there is the Jazan refinery, which is a 400,000 barrels per day refinery and connected terminal at the Red Sea near Jazan, which is to be commissioned in 2016. I also like to mention the Wasid gas program, which is set to become the largest gas plant in the kingdom when it's completed this year, and its capacity is 2.5 billion standard cubic feet of gas per day. I also like to mention the Sadara project, which is the largest petrochemical facility ever built in one single phase. It's a joint venture with Dow Chemical, and when it's ready for production, then it will produce like 3.2 million tons of performance high value-added chemical and plastic products. For the future, there are projects as well. There is one which I like to mention, which is the sports stadium project. It's not on my list, but next year, Saudi Aramco will start the construction of 11 sports stadiums in Saudi Arabia. Second, there is our material, or our spend on material. If you look at this graph, you will see the blue bars, which represent our future spend on these materials. The green line represents the current localization percentages on these categories, and the average is 35%, or that was the percentage last year. So there's a long way to go. If you add the totals of these different categories together, then the total is $40 billion US dollars. But the total capital budget for the next 4 years will be $125 billion. Saudi Aramco also developed a number of incentives for companies interested to establish themselves in Saudi Arabia. First of all, there is a price premium of 10%, 5% if you have a local presence, and there's another 5% if you meet targets, Saudization targets, which are set by our company, which I will explain in my next slide. Second, there's exclusive bidding for local manufacturers. If Saudi Aramco registered more than 3 manufacturers and the bid value is less than $2 million US dollars, then the RFQ will only be issued to the local manufacturers. And third, there are long-term agreements within the context of category-based strategies, which are currently implemented by Saudi Aramco. I mentioned the subject of Saudization, which means the employment of Saudi nationals, which is a national policy of the kingdom, and targets are set by company size. If companies meet the requirements for Saudization, then they are rewarded by this within the local content premium that I just discussed. If you're interested to exploit these opportunities, then Saudi Aramco has a department called the New Business Development Department, which is considered the investors' gateway to Saudi Aramco. It's their aim to enhance the company's potential, to increase revenue, and to support the kingdom's goal of maximizing economic and social benefits from its natural resources. There is a new business partner process in which they will share historical consumption figures with you when you're developing or writing your feasibility study. They will explain more about the technical and quality requirements for the materials, and they will guide you through the investment process. And then once approved, Saudi Aramco will be ready to do business with you if prices are competitive and delivery terms are acceptable. Why would you invest in Saudi Arabia? It has been mentioned before in other presentations. I do like to repeat it. First of all, the scale of opportunities in many sectors. It's not only oil and gas, but also in healthcare and infrastructure. And there are also large companies like Saudi Aramco within Saudi Arabia. For instance, SABIC, the chemical company, and SEC, the Saudi electricity company. There are many incentives to invest in Saudi Arabia. And third, it's ranked 26th out of 189 countries in the ease of doing business ranking. In addition, the kingdom is the largest market and provides easy access to the GCC. There's a young and highly educated workforce, and the costs for land and energy are low. Why would you partner with Saudi Aramco? First of all, the business opportunities which are in our company. Second, we have a wide network, and if you are serious about your intentions in Saudi Arabia, then we are willing to open up our network. Third, there is the knowledge and expertise in our company which we do like to share with you. And then the fourth, which is in my view the most important, you know, when you have established yourself in Saudi Arabia and when you are ready to sell to Saudi Aramco, your materials meet our requirements, so that you didn't put a plant in the kingdom without being able to sell to us. So what would be the next steps? Well, if you are interested and if you're serious in investing in Saudi Arabia, then you can contact us. And if you are able to present a feasibility study to us, then we will discuss it with you at our office in the Netherlands. And if it meets our requirements, then we will introduce you to Saudi Aramco, who will then start to partner with you in the implementation of your plans. And this is my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.